Coach, how do you see Jamar Chase fitting in your offense? Do you envision him in like a AJ Green type role?
Yeah, it's hard to sit here and say right now what his role will be come training camp or the season for that matter. But yeah, he's gonna fit that role. He's probably gonna fit somewhere as an X receiver for us, which ultimately is just a letter. It doesn't mean a whole lot at this point. But he's gonna be one of the three receivers that'll be on the field quite a bit, and so we'll find his skill set and how he translates to this level as he gets comfortable and learns an offense and gets his feet wet. So there'll be plenty of places for him to play.
Coach, you looked at a lot of wide receivers over the course of your career. You look at the obvious assets that he has, but was there something about him that may not have been known to us that you saw that really endeared you to him as that pick?
You know, the thing you notice about him when you watch the tape is just his ability to go attack the ball, and then once he gets the ball in his hands, to go score. And there's a mentality to that when guys do that on tape consistently. It's a way that they run. When they have the ball in their hands, they're just always looking to score. And that's a trait that isn't for every receiver, but he's got it. And he's got the ability to make strong contested catches. He's played against plenty of NFL corners in his career at LSU, guys that are playing right now that we get ready for every week. He performed against all of them. And I just think seeing that level of competition consistently week in and week out with his ability to go catch the ball in tight situations and contested catches and then go score with it once he had it was really impressive.
Thank you.
Brian, was there one specific game that really jumped out, one piece of game tape where that really kind of blew you all away?
No, I mean, we just, like Zach said, we watched so much of that team over the last, 2 years now with the amount of prospects they've had on the offense. And, that Clemson game was a really impressive game that he had. I thought that he played against an NFL corner. I thought that he was grabbed all over the place, and he still found ways to shake free and make huge plays in that game. I thought he probably could have won over 300 yards even. I mean, he was a monster in that game on the biggest stage. And so that's always exciting to see when you see a guy do that and perform on that stage at that level as against really two good players that Clemson had on the outside.
Brian, Zach said that this team needs to be more explosive on offense. How much was this pick made with the idea or just, keeping in mind that you guys want to win and want to get this thing rolling in the right direction right away?
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that wants to win more than me. I mean, I'm sure we're all in the same boat. I mean, we're hungry as can be to stack some wins together and give these, give our fans and the people of Cincinnati something to be excited about and come cheer on Sundays. And really, it came down to he was the best player that we thought was available at that time, and we really were excited that he was available. Gives us a chance to add some explosiveness to our team and to our offense. And I'm excited to see him hopefully score a bunch of touchdowns for us.
And there may have been a time, I don't know, where it would be crazy and blasphemy to pass on a big offensive lineman for a receiver. But is this pick kind of more an indication of just this is what today's game is you're maybe – a little more lost if you don't have receivers that can just win consistently out there than you maybe even are in an old school of power and protecting and running the ball?
Yeah, I think what you see around the league, it's hard to hold the ball, and that's every team across the league. There's nobody that sits back and drops back and hangs onto the ball for a long time because those guys on the other side are freak shows. Those defensive linemen. And the blitz packages that you see, life is hard for a lot of teams. And when you get a chance to get guys that can go win on the outside against whoever they go against, and we feel really good about the guys that we have that can go win matchups and catch balls, it helps when they win fast. And that's a big part of it. And I think the teams that hold the ball for a long time are few and far between anymore. They used to be, big 7-step drops and holding onto the ball, and it's too hard to do. The defensive linemen are too good. They present too many challenges, and now teams have, stables of 2 and 3 of them that are coming at you every week. And so guys that can go win outside are big advantages to offenses. And, you can dictate a little bit of a coverage structure too. And teams start getting a little, you have some big plays and some explosiveness, and now all of a sudden you get soft boxes for the run game, and all these things fit together. And I think that when you got guys that can go win against these corners that you got to face, the more of them that can go win, the better. Just like I'm sure a bunch of defensive coordinators would sit down here and say, the more corners I had, the better off I'd be. And I think it's just an arms race to whoever can get the most explosive players.
Coach, what is his level of play like when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, when he's not, the primary target? Is he a guy that'll block his tail off? Is he a guy that has really good football acumen and does what he's supposed to do when he's supposed to do it kind of guy?
Absolutely. He's a fantastic effort player with and without the ball. He's tough. He's hard-minded, and he's going to go in there and he's strong. I mean, he is a really, really strong player, and you see that strength when he goes in there and puts his hands on people. And so we ask a lot of our receivers in the run game, and that will be no different for him. And we expect him to come in there, and when it's asked of him, to go do it. Ultimately, his job is to come in here and go win on pass routes and catch touchdowns. But when he's asked to go in there and mix it up, he's going to go mix it up.
What did you learn from T. Higgins' success last year about rookie receivers translating right away and stuff you can apply to Chase?
These guys have pretty good backgrounds in the pass game. The route trees they're asked to run, while not necessarily exactly what we do in the NFL, but there's just so much familiarity with passing schemes and how to run routes. And like I think I've said before, there's just so much of it that happens at an early age for these guys, where they get a chance to play in these 7-on-7 camps, and everyone throws the ball nowadays in high school. I ran the veer option when I was in high school, and it wasn't that long ago. So, these guys get this exposure early on, and then, they get a chance to play against good players, especially, talking about guys in the SEC that are all coming in the NFL rosters. And so seeing T do it, and the Justin Jeffersons and these guys that have come in and really played well, I think is more a testament to what football has become at the lower levels, and how much more ready they are now to play in the NFL than they would have been maybe 10 years ago.
2 more minutes.
Hey, Brian, what was the mood like for the 10 minutes that Atlanta was on the clock?
There's probably some tension, if you will, like not tension, but I'm trying to think of the right word. You just kind of, you're waiting. You're anxious a little bit to see what they do, and see what their mentality was going to be. Were they going to take quarterback and trade out, and what would change all the things in front of us? And if they take the guy you want, and that's always part of the equation when you don't control what's happening in front of you. And so you just sort of wait and see how it shakes out. And we felt pretty good about what we thought might happen. And so it kind of went the way we thought it would. And that's always nice, but it doesn't always go that way. You hold your breath for a few minutes and hope it goes the way you think it's going to.
Brian, there was a lot of chatter during the pre-draft process about, y'all's need to kind of get more explosive plays, get the deep ball ready. I mean, how much of that was taken into consideration when y'all drafted Chase? And I mean, is it that simple that just drafting Chase kind of unlocks that aspect of y'all's offense?
No, I don't think it's ever just that simple. I mean, he's still got to come in and earn his way, just like all young players do. There's things he's going to have to get better at as he discovers where his deficiencies might be in the pro game versus college. There's always a learning curve. But I do think that his explosiveness and ability to make plays down the field is clearly part of one of the things we lacked, and he fit that. A guy that can go run and score with the ball and go make plays down the field, go win one-on-ones in the open field and down the field. Those are kind of two different things, and he demonstrated all those things on tape. And so that's always when you find a guy that can do those things, and you need that in your offense, it's a nice fit.
Coach, given that you run a lot of, you run some of LSU stuff after you drafted Joe, you incorporated some elements of what they do. Do you expect him to have a pretty quick transition?
Yeah, I expect a really quick transition. They did a good job there at LSU and their passing game, and a lot of it's a derivative of the New Orleans Saints system. So it's kind of West Coast in nature. And some of the terminology was similar, and then they did a great job finding ways to get guys matched up and give them chances to succeed. And so I think there'll be some learning curve, probably verbiage wise, it'll be learn a little bit of a new language, but at the end of the day, everything that we'll ask him to do, he has demonstrated on tape in big spots. And so I don't think there'll be much of a learning curve. as far as overall scheme, it'll take him, just like all young players, it'll take him a minute to adjust to some of the volume and just the details and minutia of new verbiage and new terminology.
Coach,
As great as Jamar is and as excited as you are to have him, you are the son of one of the greatest offensive line coaches of all time. Was it hard to pass on Penei Sewell?
There was really good players at the top of the draft, and you go through this process and you have all kinds of conversations about where you see him fall and where you see the rank, and you get to the point where you get to draft night and you've done all the homework and had the conversations and stacked the board the way you see it, and you just kind of stay true to those things. And I think the guys that are going to get taken on the offensive line here in this first round are going to be really good players. It was just really ultimately Jamar Chase we felt like the best player for us in the draft.
One last question.
Think about the leadership qualities of Joe Burrow, his knowledge of Jamar Chase. You have to feel good about there's probably going to be phone calls starting tomorrow that I would imagine Joe Burrow will start to help him get comfortable with what's going to happen here. How appreciative of you of his leadership and the ability to do those kinds of things?
His leadership is what sets him apart at the end of the day from a lot of players that in this league. And I would expect that Joe probably was on the phone with him the minute he found out that he was going to be the pick. And I'm sure they've already had a conversation about a lot of things, and they'll continue to have those conversations. And I think that that's what makes Joe so special. And it's not just with Jamar; he does that with all of our guys, and he's in constant communication with all the players on the roster throughout the offseason. And him being here has been good for everybody too, because he's been rehabbing. So it's one of the things that makes him very unique and very special, and it's going to help certainly bring Jamar along at a rapid rate once he gets his feet wet here in the coming days.